The T-Town Expo is just around the corner. Changes are coming to the entrance of Point Defiance Park, and the Tacoma Fire Department takes a proactive approach to keeping things safe. All that and more on this edition of Tacoma Report. Hi, and welcome to this edition of Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor. Angie Foster is off today. Bring your family and friends and head to the Tacoma Dome for the second annual T-Town Play, Explore, and Learn City Services Expo. The event takes place March 24th from 10 to 3. You'll get a chance to learn about the services the City of Tacoma provides, get an up-close look at the vehicles used for city work, experience interactive live demonstrations, and check out job opportunities with the city. Go to cityoftacoma.org/play, explore, learn for the latest updates. When it comes to conventions, people are taking notice of Tacoma. In a recent ranking by Meeting Source, which evaluated the best convention cities in the country, Tacoma has taken the top spot for conventions of up to 1,000 attendees. The report looked at factors like affordability, ease of access, safety, walkability, promotional appeal, and weather. Interestingly enough, in 2017, Tacoma placed fourth in a ranking which did not include weather as a factor.
And while our mild climate and ideal summers might have helped boost us to the top of the list for 2018, this recognition really is testament to our teams at both Travel Tacoma and the Greater Tacoma Convention Center, alongside all the thriving, creative, and entrepreneurial businesses throughout the city of Tacoma. We look forward to continued growth, of course, with the construction of our Convention Center Hotel.
More information about the Greater Tacoma Convention Center is available at tacomaconventioncenter.org. Tacoma is experiencing unprecedented growth, with more than $1 billion being invested in development projects in downtown Tacoma and surrounding areas. It also has a commercial, industrial, multifamily, residential market that is expanding significantly. Recently, Sunset Magazine listed Tacoma as one of its top 20 game-changing places to live based on Tacoma's innovation, technology, and maker culture.
We continue to work really hard to attract local, regional, national, and of course international capital. Tacoma's economy is healthy and poised for future growth.
Sunset Magazine also touted Tacoma's work to adapt and reuse historic buildings, expansion of the University of Washington Tacoma campus, its light rail system, which happens to be the state's first modern electric light rail system, the renovated waterfront, and 6 more major museums in and around the downtown core as reasons why more businesses and people are attracted to this community. Another big attraction that draws people to Tacoma is Point Defiance Park, but visitors will soon see a big change at the main entrance. Stacy Ellifrit has more on what drivers in the area can expect.
A familiar and welcoming site at Point Defiance is about to undergo a major change when construction begins at the North Pearl Street entrance.
Construction on the roundabout is actually getting underway now. The contract was executed, contractor was given a notice to proceed. So we'll see construction begin here in the coming week. The duration of the project is estimated at about 4 months, so we hope to be complete about the 1st of June.
While construction is underway, visitors are encouraged to follow detours and use alternate routes.
During construction, there will be detour routes around the roundabout. It's obviously the main entry intersection into Point Defiance Park, a very busy intersection. We're really encouraging folks as they exit the park to exit via the Mildred Street exit.
The roundabout is designed to smooth traffic flow into and out of the park.
It's a very busy intersection, but it's very challenging today in terms of its geometry and sight lines. A lot of what the roundabout is about is making the intersection safer, more efficient for vehicles, but really bicyclists and pedestrians will really benefit as well.
During construction, Point Defiance Park and all its attractions will remain open throughout the course of the project. Make sure you add in a couple of extra minutes to get to your destination.
It will require some pre-planning. Folks, if they have an opportunity to check the website for construction updates, and then there'll be advanced warning signage on Pearl as well as 51st Street as you come up from Ruston Way that'll give park patrons kind of advanced warning as to what to expect as they get closer to the park.
For Tacoma Report, I'm Stacey Elfrit.
To find out more about roundabout construction or other projects related to Destination Point Defiance, visit the Metro Parks Tacoma site. Looking for a way to get involved with your community this year? Metro Parks Tacoma offers a number of volunteer opportunities that fit many interests. From conservation efforts, community engagement, and youth services, there's bound to be a good fit for you. Be part of something bigger and help Metro Parks further their mission to create healthy opportunities to play, learn, and grow. To find a volunteer opportunity and submit an application today, visit their website. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll find out what's being done to gather information on the homeless population and ways to help decrease that number. Stay with us. Joining us now in the studio is Tess Colby from Pierce County's Human Services Department to talk about the 2018 Point in Time Count. Hi Tess, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So Tess, can you tell us, what is the Point in Time Count?
So every year across Pierce County, we conduct a census where we count the number of people who have experienced homelessness the night before. So it's a very simple question. Where did you sleep last night? And what we're looking for are people who are sleeping outside or sleeping in shelter who are experiencing homelessness. And we do that count so that we get a better sense of not just how many folks are experiencing homelessness, but also where they're experiencing homelessness.
Why is it important to our community?
So we really, we need to understand the impact that homelessness is having on our community, on our neighbors, and on the folks that are experiencing homelessness. So one of the things that we do through the Point in Time Count is we survey people and we ask folks about what were the factors that may have led them to become homeless, what kinds of disabilities are they facing or barriers to getting back into housing, where did they live before they lost their housing, and that as a community really helps us understand what the conditions are that people are living in when they're homeless and what services they need to help them move from homeless to housed. It also gives us a better sense, I think, as a community of sort of the dispersion, if you will, of homelessness across the county. I mean, I think in the city of Tacoma, we see, because it's urban and it's dense, we see a lot of folks sleeping on streets or sleeping in shelters, and we know we've got a lot of services in the city of Tacoma. And what we learn from the Point in Time Count is really that homelessness impacts the entire county, that there are folks experiencing it all over the county. So it helps us at the county, and it also helps the folks at the city to really make sure that we're funding services across the region.
Okay, thank you. How does Pierce County use the information to help address homelessness?
It helps us to understand, as I said, the conditions that lead to people becoming homeless. So we know that the majority of folks will tell us, and have told us in the past and will probably tell us this year, that they lost their housing through a combination of economic factors or family dissolution issues. We all know that rents are rising extremely quickly in the city of Tacoma and in Pierce County as a region, while our wages are staying fairly stagnant. And so we know now that homelessness is really the result of people losing their housing because they can no longer afford to pay their rent. So that helps us to understand better the need for affordable housing. We hear from folks that access to behavioral health is a critical need that people who are experiencing homelessness have. So that helps us understand that if we want to prevent homelessness, we need to be investing more in behavioral health services. For those folks who are homeless and need services now, what they tell us what kinds of issues they're facing and what they need to help move them back into housing, that helps us to fund appropriate programs and to design services that will help them move from homeless to housed.
Okay. Now, Tess, can you briefly tell us what will be different about this year's point in time count?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. In our partnership, the county and the city really collaborated together to design some different approaches to the point in time count this year that we think is going to give us a much more accurate number. And by accurate, I mean it will also probably reflect a somewhat higher number of folks that are experiencing homelessness. So 3 main differences. The first is we're using a mobile app called Counting Us, and that mobile app allowed the volunteers to record answers to our survey questions on the app, but it also gives us real-time information. So during the count, we had a command center and we had real-time information of where people were and how many people were getting surveyed. It also tells us, it pinpoints geographically where the folks are, so it's also going to help us understand where encampments are and where people are sleeping, again, all across the county. So that was the first change. The second is we decided to do a nighttime count. So the point in time count this year happened on January 26th. And what we did was we sent teams of outreach, street outreach workers from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. and they went into predetermined encampments across the county, so in the city, but also in Puyallup and in Sumner and in Ording and other places across the county to count folks that were in the encampments. So that was new. We've known from prior counts that sometimes we don't catch people when they're at home in the encampments. Okay. And so by going overnight, we had a much better opportunity of counting people that are sleeping in those encampments. The third thing that's different is we're doing an observation count. So in prior years, we'd only counted people who agreed to be interviewed. And this year, if you are in an encampment and you identify as being homeless, but you don't want to do the survey, we'll still count you.
Awesome. Well, Tess, thank you so much for being here today.
Sure.
Great information, great resources. We really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
The data from the 2018 point in time count will be available in early April. For more information, visit the county's webpage. Now, don't go away. We'll get an update on what's taking place with the state legislature and how that will impact our community. We'll be right back. At the end of 2017, the City Council approved the city's state and legislative agendas, which provides direction to the Government Relations Office as to what issues to pursue during the congressional and state sessions in 2018.
So it's important for us to have an agenda and be fully engaged in the legislature in order to protect ourselves, if nothing else. But as long as you're down there protecting yourself, you might as well advance some issues as well, things that could make it easier for you to do business or to encourage incentivized development in your community. And so that's why we have an agenda. We introduced several bills last session that will be alive again in 2018, and we'll continue to work on those.
You can learn more about the city's priorities by going online. It's been 3 years since the problem of lead in Flint, Michigan's water system drew national attention. Since then, Tacoma Water has been working diligently to ensure the last remnants of lead-containing pipe is removed from its water system. John Phillips updates us on how the work is going.
There you go. So grab it by the yoke right here at the bottom.
Tacoma water crews stay busy updating our aging water system. Old pipes come out, new ones go in. Galvanized pipe connecting customers to water mains is replaced with shiny copper lines. As they work, they're especially on the lookout for the last pieces of lead-containing pipe in their system. On this rainy day, they're in luck.
Lead goosenecks, and these are the short piece of pipe that connects the water service to the water main in the street. They're usually 1 to 2 feet long, as you can see here, and they were installed in the early 1900s.
Working from vague century-old records, the utility could only estimate how many lead connections are still in service and their locations. They created a target map and a plan to get rid of the estimated 1,200 lead goosenecks by 2021.
So far, we've actually found that of the about 250 or so that we've resolved, only about 1/3 have found a lead gooseneck at.
Yes, that's very good news. When we don't find lead, that's good news.
Corey Bedient coordinates crews assigned to search out the lead connections throughout Tacoma.
Yeah, from an operations standpoint, that means we're able to identify, it's moved through the list a little bit faster than anticipated.
Initially, Tacoma water tests determined that some elevated lead levels locally were due to opening of valves at the water meter, not lead goosenecks. Since then, the utility has implemented procedures to prevent this from happening, namely flushing and valve replacement. For 2 decades, Tacoma Water has also treated water to reduce pipe corrosion. The removal of lead goosenecks and older piping are yet another measure to ensure quality and safety of our water.
Targeting these, it's part of a national movement to remove all lead from water systems.
Testing of water samples submitted by concerned customers since 2016 show 99.6% are virtually lead-free.
The most important thing we want our customers to know is that our water is safe. Through our typical treatment process and sampling that we do every day, we assure that the water coming through our taps is clean and safe to use for drinking and bathing.
The customers that potentially have these goosenecks have all been notified, and Tacoma Water's removal program is well underway. For added safety, Tacoma Water advises people concerned about lead to just flush their household plumbing by turning on the tap for a minute or two, and that's only if the water has been sitting idle for a week or more. For Tacoma Report, I'm John Phillips.
Tacoma Water customers can still have their water tested for lead. You can get more information on the utility's website. While we're on the subject of water, residents are invited to join Pierce Conservation District for a free rain garden workshop. Participants can receive expert guidance on how to plan, prep, plant, and maintain a rain garden. Learn about design elements to enhance your landscaping, what soil amendments are necessary, and about the types of grasses and ground covers that are used in a rain garden. To sign up today for a workshop being held February through June, visit their site. We still have a couple more months of winter, but summer will be here before you know it. It's a good time now for employers to think about Summer Jobs 253. The program is accepting applications from area businesses who are interested in providing Tacoma incoming junior and senior high school students with their first job experience. Summer Jobs has been nationally recognized since it launched 6 years ago for its innovative and holistic approach to credit retrieval, job readiness training, and employment experience. To learn more or to apply, visit summerjobs253.com. If you're looking for a place to volunteer, have we got an opportunity for you? We'll tell you all about it after the break. The Tacoma Tool Library is looking for volunteers. No tool knowledge is needed because the Tool Library is a learning atmosphere. Volunteers will help provide general customer service, but if you do happen to have tool knowledge, they could use your help cataloging and maintaining their tool inventory. Other volunteer opportunities include outreach, fundraising, and data entry. A great perk included with this opportunity is a free 1-year Tool Library membership. To learn more, email their programs manager, Britt McGrath. Public safety first responders have to be both reactionary and proactive. When a crisis occurs, they have to quickly respond to the scene. For the Tacoma Fire Department, the preemptive approach they take with local businesses has been credited with preventing many possible fires in our community. Lane Fickey has more in this report.
There are 4,000 buildings and more than 10,000 commercial businesses in the city of Tacoma. The Tacoma Fire Department is required every year to inspect each business, occupied or not, to make sure there are no safety issues for the employees who work there, the citizens who frequent them, and the firefighters who may have to respond to those locations.
Typically when we come in, we're looking for holes in the walls, holes in the ceiling that's going to spread fire vertically or horizontally. We're checking to make sure that your fire protection systems have been up to date. They're supposed to have an annual test done, so we're checking that. We're also checking your fire extinguishers, make sure they're properly mounted, that they've been certified in the last year. Also looking for fire hazards such as extension cords, open flames possibly in a building.
The changes that need to be made to comply with the safety regulations can be simple fixes to violations that require major modifications to the building. Not knowing what violations might be found might cause a nervous stomach or two, but the majority of the business owners know that there is a real value to these walkthroughs.
I'd have to say the majority of them, they're happy that we come in. They like us to come in and show us what they could do to maybe improve it's their business. They don't want to lose their livelihood either. So for the most part, most of them appreciate us coming in, doing a professional job. They're always happy to see the fire department.
If there are violations, 15 business days are given to get them resolved. Firefighters will then come back to check on their status.
If it hasn't been corrected, then we refer you to the fire prevention office. Then they will come contact you, come back in another 3 to 4 weeks. If you are not making attempts to correct the problem, then you can be assessed a fine for failure to comply with the International Fire Code.
Tacoma fire officials say that most business owners are pretty quick to get the violations fixed because they know that these are issues that cannot be put off. For Tacoma Report, I'm Lane Fickey.
You can find out more about the building inspection process by going to the city's website. And finally, administrative offices in the Tacoma Municipal Building Complex and in other City of Tacoma facilities will close on Monday, February 19th in observance of President's Day. The Tacoma Recovery and Transfer Center will open as normally scheduled, and garbage, recycling, and yard food waste pickups will not be affected. That's all the time we have on this edition of Tacoma Report. A great way to find out about the services the City of Tacoma has to offer is by going to cityoftacoma.org. I'm Laura Proctor. Thanks for watching.